We've all heard this kind of story before. A student at the top of their class graduates, gives the valedictorian speech in front of their beaming parents, who are now sure that their child is ready for the world and will be successful for the rest of their life. But a few years into the workforce, they run into trouble. First with relationships, then work. They find themselves constantly knocking on closed doors, not getting promoted fast enough, and running into similar interpersonal trouble at each new job. They're left feeling betrayed by their peers and their loved ones. Their parents and teachers made them physically and cognitively capable. So what went so wrong? The issue is that this person is lacking independence, a key element in the 3 stages of emotional development. So what are the 3 stages? The first stage is dependence, where one's well-being, success, and happiness and sense of self-worth depends on others. Initially, people are physically dependent on their parents for basic needs. Later, they become emotionally dependent on friends, teachers, peers, and partners. How they feel depends on their perception of how all these relationships treat them. In this sense, their well-being is outsourced to others. This is important for the development of children, but the problem is a lot of people like this person in our story get stuck at this first stage and often end up feeling betrayed later in their life when they unreasonably expect to receive more from others than they themselves give. Many people eventually get to the second stage of interdependence, where they realize that one's sense of well-being is intertwined with that of others. One must give in order to get, but that is not just about instant gratification or a series of transactions. Rather, caring for others and giving for the sake of spreading joy itself cultivates a positive environment over time where people will be more willing to help you succeed. Fewer people make it to the third stage, which is independence. Here, you realize that how you feel depends entirely on yourself. You fully understand that you have the choice to respond to life situations in whichever way you like. No one can hurt or insult you unless you allow yourself to be hurt or insulted, not because your human emotions and feelings are magically erased, but because you can take the time to consciously process them as they happen. Be the one to feel things. Do not let feelings simply happen to you. Assess your external stimuli and gauge whether it is worth getting upset about. You still care for others, as in the interdependent stage, but don't depend on others' behavior for your own happiness now because you're independent. You can start your journey towards independence with these 3 ideas: acceptance, forgiveness, and gratitude. True emotional independence is about accepting life's ups and downs with equanimity, knowing that you can choose and control your own reactions to extraneous events, but not much else. Do not get carried away by excessive pride upon winning or extreme sorrow upon losing. Acceptance begins with first truly understanding, then fully accepting who we are in terms of our strengths, weaknesses, needs, and desires. Only from this base of deep and honest self-awareness can we imagine the person we want to be and do the best at becoming that person. Emotionally independent know that the chemical reaction of anger or resentment happens inside one's own brain, which is completely inaccessible to anyone else. So, forgiving those who offend you sets you on a more productive path and allows you to make positive choices that avoid such forces in your life. Don't allow anyone to live in your head rent-free. If instead of saying, "How dare you do this to me? Let me show you what I'll do in return," you say, "I forgive you for losing control and saying or doing what you do. I do not feel the need to settle scores with you. It is up to you to recognize your behavior." You lift the burden of vengeance or conflict off your shoulders and free yourself to pursue solutions to improve your situation away from the harmful party. Quite often, you will also find a positive response from that party, allowing you both to resolve the situation and maintain a relationship as well. Finally, a truly independent person knows that if you fill your brain with gratitude for life's blessings, it is hard to feel sorrow or pain for too long. People who make gratitude a habit can lift themselves out of emotional lows much easier than others. At first glance, accepting everything, forgiving everyone, and being grateful all the time might sound like weakness and lack of ambition. However, accepting reality is an important precondition for changing it. Visualize a ball falling from the 10th floor. For it to bounce back, it must hit the ground first. It cannot bounce back in midair. Similarly, without acceptance, forgiveness, and gratitude, there can be no resilience. Now, this is not to say that you should never seek help or collaborate, but simply know that since you are the only thing that you can completely control, you must try to master the three ideas, thereby managing your own sense of well-being. Over time, the brain will rewire itself to work independently around acceptance, forgiveness, and gratitude, empowering you to take control of your own life.